Where have you been sexually harmed? What has it done to you? What impact does that have on your relationship with yourself? Have you been harmed sexually? Hi there, I'm Dr. Carol, and I'd like you to think about that question. I am one among many who believe that we have all been harmed sexually in some way. But it didn't start out that way. And let's think about that for a minute. Back at the beginning, when God created everything, it was beautiful. The Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, a beautiful environment, nothing between the husband and his wife, Adam and Eve, fully alive. At the end of Genesis 2, it says they were naked and felt no shame, unashamed. Can you even imagine what that would be like? Naked and unashamed, nothing physically, emotionally, or spiritually between you. Now, we all know that that is not the experience that we live in today. Evil has messed up everything about sex and sexuality. Just think about some of the big things we know about. Sex trafficking, sexual abuse of children, both boys and girls, molestation, violence, rape, just dark. But there are other ways also. The use of sex as power, making it a matter of exploitation. Perhaps you have been you have experienced being exploited sexually in some way, whether or not that was physically, but just the sexualization of a relationship with an adult or relationship with a power figure. There's the whole area of porn. And yes, that's a matter of sexual harm. I hear from men and women, and when they talk about their experience with porn, being exposed when they were at the usually young age that they were, had a very harmful impact on them. And then they struggle to get out of it. The harm that has been done with sex makes it all about me. The whole sexual experience in our culture and what evil has done to sex makes it about self-gratification, instant gratification, and that wreaks havoc on relationships. If you're married, you know that sex may not necessarily be life-giving. Even in a marriage, when it is all about getting one's own needs met, rather than the mutuality of the relationship, just so many ways in which sex and sexuality have caused harm. It can even be through religious messages. When religion puts sex in a box, makes it a list of do's and don'ts and all about behavior, I hear from men and women both where that message can create just dark pathways in your brain, and living a double life, if you are acting in some way sexually and that's not, and the religious message, it just, the confusion there, that's part of the sexual harm as well. Dr. Dan Allender, a specialist in this area, said in The Wounded Heart, "Evil hates what God reveals in and through the creation of humanity, especially with regard to gender and sexuality. Nothing brings evil greater delight or power than to foul our joy in being a man or woman through sexual harm or gender confusion on the one hand, or dogmatism on the other." So, where have you been sexually harmed? What has it done to you? What impact does that have on your relationship with yourself, your relationship with others, your relationship with God, how you bring yourself to the world? Shame is often a big part of this experience of sexual harm. Had you experienced in childhood molestation or sexual abuse? Maybe violence in a sexual relationship or some other kind of exploitation. Maybe severe disappointment and mixed religious messages in an experience in marriage. Maybe struggling with porn. Maybe sexualization of a relationship with an adult, a parent, a teacher, an authority figure, a boss, just a multiple of possible areas where you have been sexually harmed. Let me also say that it can sometimes be difficult to know where what was done to you ends and the own choices that you made begins. You may be thinking about some of this and feeling like, well, I should have just handled that. I shouldn't have acted out in that way as a result. Jesus is not nearly as interested in parsing out blame as he is in inviting you into a process of healing. He does that regardless of what your experiences have been, of what happened to you. But in that experience of healing, it will be important to get under the surface, to, yes, look at what happened to you, and then the matters of the heart about how that impacted you. So how have you been harmed sexually, and what are you doing about that? I'd like to invite you to yoursexpectations.com. Yoursexpectations.com, a digital course that will help you look at your sexual story, get underneath the surface, deal with the issues that are there, and then write the next chapter with hope. Yoursexpectations.com. I'd love to see you there. God bless you.